Hi, everybody. This is a group meeting, and so I want to honestly be able to, as much as possible, see and hear everybody that's here. I'm not sure what happened there. Stephanie, I don't see you, and your mic isn't on, or your phone isn't on. There you go.
My camera is not working.
Okay, that's okay. We have another attendee, Chris, that was here just a moment ago, and she might have lost her feed because she was trying to turn something on. How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Good. Thank you for being here. This is the first one, and we'll create this together. And well, yeah. So, and sorry if the lighting isn't ideal. It's of course it's dark here now already. I don't know if it's dark where you are, Steph. Steph's in Wyoming, and so I've got this light on. Yeah, so I'll look here because this is where you all are, but I can see you there on my computer screen. Um, so so what as I had said in the introduction to these, I felt really urged, like screamingly urged, to start doing a talk, a meeting, not a talk, not like a lecture, but every week with a community of people that want to spend time in spirit, focused in spirit, and with all the cares and the traumas and the dramas and what we think of as what's real, our daily experience in the world, as Stephanie or Chris or Christine, and that's not the real us. The real us is this multidimensional God consciousness that's experiencing itself through each of our individual perspectives and pathway. We are pathways. Each of us is a pathway of consciousness with all of these experiences and potentials, and we weave in and out with all the possibilities, depending on what we're vibrating with in our ideas, our beliefs, our intentions, our desires, our expectations. We're always interweaving what now is popularly called timelines, and Seth always called probabilities. So, so anyway, I just wanted to create sort of an energetic, lack of better word, haven, a place, space where vibrationally we can just come and just be here and get our dose of being here in this and carry through all of our days, not just for the occasional hit in a class or the occasional YouTube kind of thing. And of course, I encourage everybody, anybody who ever in the future downloads this very first talk, um, spending some time in meditation every day is really useful. And starting the day off if possible with it, just even 10 minutes before you get out of bed in the morning, when you're awake but you're not yet, you're still in that zone. You're really in that zone. We're in the I believe it's the theta brainwave, where you're really kind of in the meditational, in the place where we go when we're deep meditation. And what we are is we're directly still focused in, seated in, steeped in the greater consciousness, the God consciousness part of us. Um, and so everything we can be doing every day, this has always been true, and it's really true now. Everything we can be doing to support and nourish and nurture that direct conscious connection to ourselves as the God consciousness is really, really helpful and beneficial. So that what starts happening is, and that we need to encourage to happen, is that everything we do, even scrubbing the tub, or vacuuming the rug or whatever it is, or buying groceries, we are doing it in awareness that we are God consciousness as Chris, as Christine, as Mary, going to the store for groceries or scrubbing the tub or whatever it is, that we're constantly aware of who and what we are really. And it starts in a very real way sanctifying. And I don't mean it starts sanctifying everything and bringing every aspect of our physical life, which we used to separate out. Um, it starts bringing every aspect of our physical life into our wholeness, our divinity, and there's no separation between when we're in the zone and in the upper room or the upper octave, and when we're walking around, we start becoming whole consciousness. And so that's sort of a long introduction to this, but I was really strongly urged to start meeting with you all every week. Anybody who wanted to just become part of this community, to get this, to help stay seated there and grow and lift and expand and stay there. Um, as many of you know, the Arcturians, the non-physical Arcturians, have really become are my mentors and teachers now. And of course, along with the teachings of Seth are my background since I was 15 years old. And everything Seth taught me is right there. Which is one of the reasons I vibrate so with the Arcturians, because exactly what they teach is right there with what Seth teaches and taught. And so I really felt encouraged. The Ascended Masters too. I'm hearing, hey, hey, hey. Not just the Arcturians. They tend to be the first ones I go to because everything they write is so like, yep, 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 right there. And I love them. I almost feel like they're my spiritual, almost the way maybe a 12-year-old would feel about an 18 or 22-year-old big brother or sister. Like, that they love you, you love them, you're directly connected, and they're showing you around. They're right there for you. That's really how I feel with the Arcturians. Anyway, they did, and the Ascended Masters, I'm being very reminded, really encouraged me to do this, because all of us have, any of us that are showing up for these kinds of things and that are looking at YouTubes or reading books or listening to Abraham or whatever we're doing, we're showing up for this very deliberately, because we're all in this lifting and expansion, this ascension event that is galactic. And we all just need to follow our joy and excitement and what is authentic to us. What does that mean? Some people just by going to the grocery store and having a kind, loving heart and a smile and compassion, you're doing it. You're doing what you need to do. You're anchoring that energy, and you're a broadcaster, a sort of liquid crystal broadcaster of that energy. Others are more active and write books and are very well known and famous. And I've always been kind of real quiet, very quiet. Never had any intentions to have a really visited YouTube channel and to become a YouTube star. I never ever. I'm very quiet. However, I was so encouraged to become way more active, to be publicly visible and be available to anybody who uh, wants to share in this and vibrates with what I have to share. And I even I'll be very this full disclosure, transparency. I used to be nervous about scheduling anything for later in the day or the evening, because it used to be that in the morning I was all connected and plugged in, but as I went through the day and got distracted with the cares of the day and the cares of the human trauma drama, by the time evening came, I felt like I couldn't get. I was afraid. get it to myself, but couldn't get back there. Well, that's not true anymore. Because now we're starting to go where we're always there. And the Arcturian, when I questioned that, and I said, "Well, wait a minute, I'm going to have to do it in the evening so that people can attend." And how's that going to work? And the immediate response is, "We'll be there. We'll help you. Don't worry." And as I was sitting just quietly here before we started tonight, this is January 7th, 2025, um, I felt them not only present, but really excited, like they're feeling like this is yet another avenue that they can share information and energies that they want to share, and they're happy to have another avenue. Like, this is going to be another group of people that they can talk to, in addition to the other people that they channel through. When I channel, I am always channeling, and I've been doing it for years. I just wouldn't have known to call it that years ago. But that's what it is. It's plugging into this tuning into this consciousness, this vibrational consciousness and information, but it comes through as direct knowledge. Like, as it comes through my mouth, I know it. I'm not like hearing it, like reading it in a newspaper. It's like I just know it, and it comes through my mouth. So that's how this got started, and I'm thrilled that you guys are here. Thank you, Stephanie and Mary, for being here live. Um, these talks are gonna form themselves, and as more people hopefully get involved, we'll have more people for more discussion and whatnot. But this is our time here today, and we're creating it just for us. And again, I guess we lost Chris, but that's all right. I'll send her a copy of this. And Chris, thank you for signing up for this. And yeah, anyway, you're here, even if you're not here right now. I had intended, and still may. I had written down the subject for tonight to be receiving the benefits, receiving the gifts in all experiences, even experiences that may not be what we thought we wanted, that may not be what we thought we were trying to create, that may not feel just real hunky dory in the moment. And so, since we are creating this, how do you guys feel, you two feel about that topic for tonight? Or would you rather talk about something else? Because this is our time together.
Yeah, I'm fine with whatever you want to talk about. I already have a couple of things written down to just talk about a little bit, but talking about things that we've created that don't go quite the way we thought sounds like a good plan.
Okay, Steph, how about you? What's your input on that?
I think that's a good idea. I like that subject.
Okay, so I'll kind of say what comes to mind on that subject, and then we'll go from there with either experiences, sharing experiences, questions on that subject, or moving on to questions and talking about other things. So the thing is, we are here, and especially in this version of the world that we've incarnated to, everybody watching this, you guys, and anybody watching this that watches it back, we're here to come awake to the fact that we are the God consciousness again, expressing and experiencing through this perspective, this pathway of potentials, and to learn our creative empowerment. Seth said that we're here to learn how to create responsibly, where we basically can't do any harm before we move on to other, because this is sort of this area of creation in those terms is just the beginning, because there are so many other systems, constructs, universes where what you create is instantly manifested, and you're creating it together. So we're this earth, the earth physical existence is this wonderful place where we get to see seemingly outside of ourselves objectively what the inner landscape of what we're really thinking, feeling, intending, desiring, expecting, um, is being shown to us. It's like 3D, this is me on a plate, whether I know it or not. And the beautiful thing about that is that then you get to look around at what you're experiencing in your own immediate life, and then in your health, and in your relationships, finances, and in the world. Um, okay, this is me on a plate. I am vibrating where all of this is what I'm experiencing, what is true. So what does that mean? So what that does is it gives us the opportunity to examine the results we're getting and go back and look at, okay, well then how did we, what in me is yielding that result? The way it came up in a session the other day, it's like you get to, it's like if you're baking a cake, and I don't know, you accidentally dump garlic juice into it, instead of vanilla, you get to go, oh, whoa, that's not that's not very good. What did I? Oh well, I did put garlic in there, didn't I? But then what's wonderful is that we get to back out the garlic and add vanilla or lemon instead. So we get to examine our inner contents by what we're the fruits on the outside, so to speak. And so we're in this physical lifetime to really learn that. And in this particular ascension event that we all chose to participate in, it's to come awake to that. And it's to start coming so awake that you already are aware, you start becoming aware of what am I vibrating with? What ideas am I vibrating in? What kind of feeling and expectation am I having? That you don't have to project everything and basically beat yourself over the head with a hammer on the outside, because you're already starting to become aware on the inside of where you're going and how you really feel about things. It's we're at this time where we're literally stripping away everything that is not true. It's being shown to us what doesn't feel good, and to start listening to what does feel true. And of course, what's true is the God consciousness, which is love. It is light. It is creativity. And whatever is not that is showing up like a sore thumb in our lives. And will show up like a sore thumb if we're not going to be aware of it right away, or we're not paying attention enough to ourselves. Um, Something will happen, will manifest something that brings our attention to it. And so even though those of us that think of ourselves as pretty darn good conscious co-creators, sometimes things will manifest that are like, whoa, what is that? I didn't see this coming. And so when things happen, I'll say this, and then I want to hear your input on this. When something happens that seems less than ideal, it's not what you prefer, the first way to gain the benefit out of it is to know without question that you gave yourself this experience to show yourself something about something you're trying to learn about, something you're trying to gain compassion for, something you're trying to gain understanding about, um, and or yeah, something that you thought was true about yourself. I call it forensics. So first of all, no, flat out, without a question, this isn't something that was visited upon you by something or someone else. This isn't something that just happened to you, poor boo-boo. Sorry, no victims. I'm experiencing this because I'm learning something here that I need to learn. I'm showing myself something. What might that be? And as soon as you start going at it from that, I'm showing myself something here. It's not being forced upon me by some God up in the sky with a white beard and a baton, telling you what you're going to experience. That's not how it is. You're showing yourself something, teaching yourself something. And you say, so, okay, for what am I gaining compassion and understanding for here? That can particularly come up, at least in my personal experience. In sort of really hard experiences, maybe illnesses, or could be something where someone is acting in a certain way that's not very pleasant in a relationship. Maybe your kids, maybe your spouse, maybe a friend or relative, where you're like, okay, this is really, really unattractive. This is really not enjoyable what I'm getting from this person. Or it just could be, the cashier at their store. Okay, I'm experiencing this for a reason, so I can see something here. Do I need to see something about maybe how I do or have treated other people that didn't feel very good to them and I need to know it? Do I maybe have a part of me in another lifetime or in the past in this lifetime where I was sort of like that and I've been like that, and maybe I just need to accept and own it and forgive myself for it. Like, right, we're human and we come from our boo-boos or from our wounds. And okay, so this person is coming from their wound. I don't have to get all upset that they're acting that way. It's not about me. It's not that I'm unlovable and awful. It's something else. So it really kind of makes you look, and so you can really learn something about yourself and strip away what is not true, just ideas and beliefs. And the way Richard Bartlett once put it, this is coming through here. The whole point is to bring what was unconscious into your conscious awareness. Like, instead of things being in the unconscious where it's working in you and you don't know it and it's just so mysterious, as Seth said, it's it's not unknowable to you. You're just not used to looking for it. Once you know it's there and that you can look for it, you can become consciously aware of the ideas and the beliefs and intentions and expectations and attitudes you're carrying, and change the ones, eliminate the ones that are not useful and beneficial, and not of love. So I'm going to stop talking here for a minute, and I will tell you that we all are being offered upgrades in our DNA to allow us to ascend into higher understanding. I'm seeing it, so I'm just sharing that. Nothing is being forced upon you. It is being offered for you to accept if you choose to. So, yeah, so what's your when I'm talking about that, what would you like what comes to your mind in your own experience?
Kathy, what comes to my mind almost always when we talk about this sort of thing is the state of our national politics and our state politics. And they seem to be so nasty, and I don't want to buy into that. And I feel like it's that way so that I can learn not to buy into that, not to make that part of me. That's my lesson in all of the political crap. My lesson is to learn that I don't have to do that. I don't have to believe any of it.
Yes. We start understanding that we have choice, and that isn't what we choose to vibrate with and experience with. Now, there is a layer to that, where I, as a aware co-creator, start going, okay, if I'm seeing a lot of nastiness and I continue to see it and I continue to see it, and if it continues to bother me, why am I experiencing the version of my state, my country, that is in such uproar and turmoil? And it's kind of a fine line, because no one's saying to deny that clearly, that there's polarization. There is a split going on right now. We're in the midst of it. In fact, the last few days of December and into January, I clearly felt the choices being made, and evidently so did other people, teachers, psychics, channelers, because I saw some people on YouTube saying the same thing. It's like the split is now, because and Bashar put it this way. He says, like train tracks, you're going along, and as you choose, the love, the unity, the cooperation, your a track goes this way, and as you choose the divisiveness, the adversarialness, the trauma, drama, conflict, the tracks get wider and wider. And that's the split into, there's more than just two, but versions of the earth. And as so many point out, we are creating the new version, but not really. It exists. Everything exists simultaneously. We're going into vibration with the version of the earth that is based upon love and unity and cooperation. And the way I explain that is, again, one family. It's not that everybody likes the same food or does the same thing or agrees about, everything. That's not it. But that everybody is for each other's best interest and welfare. Everybody wants what's best for everybody. Everybody is willing to love and support and appreciate each other and appreciate each other's gifts, and they just love and accept each other as they are in the healthy family. So that's the unity and cooperation that I'm talking about. And so if we continue to just experience nothing but division, trouble, trauma, drama, I would start asking, and I'm not saying you are, Mary, but the question starts being, why am I not willing or ready to let go of that and move on into a version where that's healing itself, it's resolving itself out? Yes, I can see that uh, Paul Selig's guides talk about it as in, I can't remember the word they used, but sort of my word, dregs, the leftovers of what we have. You're seeing the echoes and the dregs of what we have created. So we're not saying deny that that's still showing up and in the world, but that it's actually an energy you can feel, that you've already moved on. You've already accepted the new version. You've already moved on. And that honestly, all of that will take care of itself. I don't have to continue to focus on it. It kind of, with love and compassion, and not denial, naive denial that it exists, but just simply doesn't matter anymore, because this is where we're going, and this is what I accept, and this is the vibration I'm going in. I didn't know we would be talking about the earth splitting here tonight like this, but it's real timely here, because timelines weave in and out, in and out, in and out. We've all agreed to show up for an ascension event, and that's happening. We can go over the river and through the woods to get there. We can go there directly. We can kind of go around the mulberry bush, but not all the way to Grandma's house. But one way or another, we get there. We each choose, honestly, which version of that experience, which timeline to vibrate in to get there. And I knew this, I felt it And then actually I just watched a YouTube with Bashar in which he talked about versions. So there it is, of the earth, as in you can go to a version of the human race that never even knew war, just a peaceful race. Boom. Or you can go to a version that knew war, but that's in the way past and now no more. Or we can of course stay in the version that's still fighting with the idea of war. We can, and everything in between. And so looking at what's going on and then realizing you have choice of which, that all the versions exist and you have a choice about which to vibrate with. Right. You learn that you can. And as soon as you realize you can make a choice, then you feel yourself make a choice, because maybe you didn't know that was allowed, but now you do. And so I'm not kidding. Today, driving home from the grocery store with my husband this morning, I felt myself go, oh, I'll just go here where all the nice people create this nice new world and all this trauma drama. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there are shifts going on, and the emotional and the consciousness shifts are showing up in the Earth's crust and the solar flares. I mean, that's a whole other discussion. But it just doesn't have to be this traumatic trauma drama experience, and certainly not for everybody. And the Arcturians had said something like that. It's like, well, which timeline, which version of it do you want to experience? Because timelines aren't, I've said this before, they're not just about how long does it take, they're about the content of what's in that timeline. So that was a way long thing for me to I'll get off on a tangent. Yeah, so you get to look at this and and decide and realize you don't have to dive into the pot of all that negativity and trauma drama.
Yep.
You can
Yep.
know it's there
Mhm.
and choose otherwise.
Mhm. And I did.
And stay on the choice, knowing that you
Yep.
can. It's like,
Yep.
that came this morning, in that theta state. It's like, here's the state of love, who and what we truly are, love and creativity, and joyful creativity. All that kind of stuff can be held within us, but this is where we are. And as long as we focus on being in that love and creativity, we don't have to get sucked into these little, it doesn't feel little when you're in it, I know, but sucked into these rabbit holes of negativity and pain and destruction and struggle and lack and adversarialness and negativity and destructiveness. We don't have to we can see that those exist. And we can even, this is rolling through here, we can even move to where, yeah, and I choose to move to where that doesn't even exist. Where maybe I know that at some point in our distant past, it was available to us and we experienced it, but now we're here. It's just we can go there. So yeah, so Stephanie, or Mary, what comes to mind at this point? What am I learning? What am I trying to teach myself here? For what am I gaining compassion and understanding? What I call forensics. Where was I that this came up? And I have a story about that, of course I do. But Stephanie, what have you got?
I don't really have anything specific. But I have learned from doing all the classes and stuff with you is I ask myself why, and then it's revealed to me why. It doesn't matter what it is.
Mm,
And if I get stuck, I usually call you, but we talk it out. But
it's true. It's true. Yeah.
but it is one of those things where you have to kind of ask yourself and then listen when you ask.
Yeah. One thing that does come to mind, do you mind me without getting into too much detail, about a little sort of health scare you had?
Yeah, that's fine.
Stephanie had something come up a year or so ago, whenever, where she had something come up that could have been concerning, and she was a little concerned, and yeah, and even went to the doctor. Um, but the thing is that when you called me and we delved into it, um, what we what how I remember it, and you correct me with how you remember it, but what I felt like we came to is, what am I gaining compassion for here? And I think it sort of came up for you the way I have noticed a few times in my life, that it's come up for me this way, which is, I guess I had a little, not meaning to, but a little bit of a smug or condescending attitude, like, oh, people create that for themselves, because, they don't realize they've got the ability to not create that. And that's all very well and good until you're the one with some health thing that just came up that's like, oh, wipe the smile off my face. The smug little, oh, I've got this. And I don't mean I never had anything nasty in me, but and I know you didn't either. Oh my goodness. But the point is that we can be a little bit insensitive, and not, and I almost say lack of compassion, not in the way that we don't have compassion or kindness for people, of course. And of course, you were in the healthcare industry. I mean, you're all full of kindness and compassion. But we can have an area where we're a little bit blind and we don't really understand what it feels like to have something like that happen, and how dang serious and scary it can feel if it happens. Um, and so that can bring up, oh, okay, now I can have real understanding and compassion for this condition that I thought that was for everybody else, not me. And then here's the magic. You don't have to then develop that condition into what it could have turned into, because you already got the lesson. Unless, of course, there's more lesson you need or feel like you have to give yourself. Or if you have the expectation that you have to then have, no, you don't. If you just take in the information and the compassion and the understanding, you don't need to give yourself the lesson that you already got. How do you feel about that stuff? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, I agree with all of it.
I've had many experiences in my life, but again, I've focused on this co-creation stuff since I was 15. Okay, so I've had decades to. This is all I ever focused on, even while I appeared to be living normal life, and certainly had all the bumps and bruises of normal life. Let me tell you, but I would always be aware, though, of, like, I'm not kidding. We had a dog years ago, about 25 years ago, living in Wyoming, that he developed tumors in his esophagus and all around in his chest and in everywhere. And he was going around kind of, and he died. Um, I was hiking along. We had land, and I was hiking, and I suddenly felt this stuff in my throat, and I couldn't clear it, and I couldn't clear it, and I just immediately knew that I was being shown how it felt to be him, and it gave me compassion for that. I had a friend who she's passed away now, but my friend who had moved to Hawaii, I think she told me once that I had developed an allergy that made me cough a lot. Now it's gotten way, way better. I always thought I was immune to above allergies. Well, okay, so I developed an allergy that made me cough. And she said she had something come up to where she was constantly irritated. And she's like, oh, this is how it feels to be Kathy. This is how this feels. It's like torture. So those kinds of things, it's just like, if you notice them and you say, oh, I see, thank you for the lesson. You don't have to continue down the road and keep on with the same story you learned. And Seth says that. He says, even about incarnation and karma, and of course we're at a point now where all the ascended consciousnesses and the Arcturians and others are saying karma, you're done with that. You don't even have to play out karma now. Now you're where you're awake and you can just create and know you're awake, that you can create, like the version of the earth that you are vibrating in and experiencing. But Seth had said about karma, which is education. He said, if you're incarnating to get an experience and to learn a lesson. If you learn the lesson, you don't need to have the whole experience. You don't need to go through the whole lesson. You already learned the lesson. So you don't have to do what the whole lesson plan was, if you get what the lesson is, if that makes sense. Yeah, so always asking yourself, what am I gaining insight here to? What am I gaining compassion for, and understanding for? And what I call forensics. I can, and you all are where you can too. You can always look at a situation that maybe you just have been going through, and go, "Whoa, okay, let's look at this. Where did this come from?" And that question, Steph, as you said, just asking, what's this about? Where did this come from? You can start seeing right away where you were. Like I've told, I don't know if Mary's heard this story, but in the conscious co-creations I used to teach, and I know, Steph, you attended them. But at that time I was working at a big grocery store, just on weekends while I was doing my practicum to become a practitioner. And I taught everybody else how to do the job, the cashiering. I was the head teacher. I was the trainer. I was like so excellent at what I did. And this one night, there was a brand new manager that he didn't bother to get to know who anybody was. They don't care. And I didn't feel well. I had a bellyache or something. And I was over at the self-checkout. And it was one of those slow nights, nothing going on. And I was always so meticulous about everything being perfect and clean for everybody, because everything I do, I try to do it right, even cashiering at a grocery store. I had a bellyache, and I saw him heading toward me, and I thought, well, shoot, I better at least look busy for a second here, because he's gonna think I'm not doing anything. So I don't know. I started wiping something, doing something. He comes over and he starts talking to me like I'm this 18-year-old idiot. I was decades beyond that. And he says, now, when we're over here, we need to make sure that the bags are filled and they're open. Talking to me like I would never even talk to a 15-year-old like that. And so anyway, I thought that I was treated with so much respect and deference at that place. And I thought, now where the heck did that come from? But what it was is I was feeling not like the person who is really good at what I do and valuable. I was feeling like I don't have any empowerment. I don't feel good, and this manager's not going to think well of me. I went into a very disempowered state, really. So didn't he just come up and plug right into that and give me on a plate really where I was? And so, I went home, and I didn't even bother to get mad at him for treating me like that. I went home, thought about it, okay. Went in my empowerment the next day and shook his hand and talked to him. And oh my gosh, from that time on, he thought I walked on water. He sent even the troubled people who were going to be fired, he sent them to me for rehab. He gave me all the excellent reviews that no one could ever get. I mean, he thought I walked on water. But I'm just saying, see, it's just like you're going to get what you're vibrating with. And if you just take a second to look at, okay, where was I? Where was I? What was going on with me? What do I need to see here that's going on with me? There will be a gift in there. You'll learn something that's very valuable to take forward. So enough of that preaching. What questions do you have about that or something else? What would you like to add? What's your response? Do you have questions about something else?
I was this, I think it was just this morning while I was meditating, I was thinking about my brother who he's a missionary in Ukraine,
Oh,
and he sends updates, but my sister and I had been talking that his updates seem awfully me centered.
wow.
It's like this is, yeah, I'm doing this, but it's really just so that I can say this about me. And so I was thinking about that during my meditation, and it's like, well, yeah, that's fine, John. That's perfectly fine to think that you're pretty dang special. You're okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yeah. And it just those little things when you stop and think about it, rather than switching immediately to, oh, he's just being egotistical. Stop and think what's happening, what's going on, and give people the benefit of the doubt.
Compassion for where they're coming from.
Yep, exactly.
And as we talked about in that attunement that we just did here a couple days ago together, all of us, you are the God consciousness. You're the multidimensional consciousness, and in a very real way, from that aspect, everybody else is you, but experiencing through their perspective and pathway of potentials. So where are they? What are they? What is that part of me, that aspect of me? Kind of where are they coming from? What are they feeling? And yeah, he's trying to feel like he's okay, that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And you're very good at that. You're very good at picking those things up, better than most people. Um, well, no, you are.
Thank you.
That time I told you in one of our get-togethers, I don't remember which one, where you would, and I was telling the story about how my husband was kind of talking to me like I'm explaining something to me like I'm stupid. And I'm not
Right.
stupid. Oh my God. I kind of in the moment kind of took umbrage, and then I was like, oh, he's not doing that because he thinks I'm stupid. He's doing that because he's afraid he can't explain something, so he gets mad. It's not mad at me for being stupid. It's mad at himself for not being able, he thinks, to
Yep,
explain.
yep.
And before I even had the sentences out of my mouth, you're going, yup, yeah.
Yep.
So you plugged into that immediately. That's what I mean about you're very good at that. Just plugging
And
into where they're coming from versus it's
yeah,
about me.
right,
Right,
right.
right.
And the other, the in that attunement, we were talking about, uh, I know who I am. I know who you are is absolutely just as important as knowing who I am. I have to know who you are too.
Yeah. Yeah. You are godlight. You are part of me. You're an expression of me. And we are one. And yeah, it is. There's no more, and there's no more separation. And yet you're able to, at least this is the way I experience it, you're able to appreciate all the different aspects of your self. And yeah, appreciate. Not just compassion sounds like there's something wrong, like you're feeling sorry for them. It's not that, but appreciate, understand, and rejoice in all the different parts of yourself, experiencing everything. Steph, comments,
Yes.
any questions, other topics, anything?
I can't think of anything at the moment.
Mary, do you have something else that was on your list? These questions answers, and this is also an opportunity.
Well, the only other thing I wrote down when you were starting out was that when I am meditating, it's, I don't know where it comes from, but I do get answers to things that I'm thinking about, worried about, what something that's come up, and it comes out of nowhere. I don't know,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's just essential to meditate to get some place.
It is. It is getting, because we have that surface consciousness that's all sort of survival oriented, and what do I have to do? And like that's what's real. And and again, there's this whole consciousness area where we just are. We hold that personality with its life and concerns, but we hold it. It doesn't hold us. We've done that in meditations before. And the thing is that, again, Seth said this, read it years ago in one of the first books where he said, if you know the answers are there, if you know the help is there and the answers are there, you'll accept them. You won't accept what you don't believe is there for you. But so what meditating and meditation doesn't have to mean like when you meditate, are you sitting in a lotus position and doing all of that, or are you just, yeah, I don't either.
Yep. No, I'm lounging in my lounge chair, actually. I, my feet don't even touch the ground, and it works for me.
Right. There is no right or wrong way. Meditation, people can get the wrong idea that you have to do a certain thing and have your feet a certain way and have your hands a certain way. And don't get me wrong, within those traditions, those are very helpful, and um, they work all traditions and all modalities work within themselves, just like the rules of a chess game work within the rules of a chess game very well.
Mhm.
They're not so good for soccer, or what, it's a, um, so not saying that those things aren't useful within that tradition, but and people think that meditation is like getting rid of all the thoughts in your head. That's not it. It's it's letting go of, some people call the hamster brain or the monkey brain, worrying about these physical world details, and literally just allowing yourself to open up so that the higher consciousness is like, oh, I'm still here. Before I knew to call it field of the heart or upper room or any of the real, the current terms that people are, the upper octave, I used to call it illuminated thinking, because I would just sit at my kitchen table in the morning and write and know things and write them down. I was awake. I mean, I was conscious. I had thoughts, but I wasn't giving the answers. I was just, yeah, it was just coming in. It just burbles into you, but you have to allow it, right? Yeah. And it's not helpful. I've had people when I was teaching some sort of meditations, remember Steph back in Casper, Wyoming, actually, when I had that office, you used to attend those meditations we would do. There were people, well, I was asking this question and I want the answer. I was like, no, that's your left brain thinking it's going to control the deal. And as long as the left brain is doing that, it's not open to allowing in broader, expanded information. I liken it to like you have a canary and it's not singing. You want to sing right now, it's not singing. So you grab it by the throat and you choke it and you go, sing, damn you, sing. Yeah, that's the opposite. That's the opposite. Yeah. So is there anything I'm checking around here in the, go
I
ahead.
remember those classes. That was a good time.
Yeah, that was a good time. Remember that time this just came to mind. Remember that time I took you guys on a meditational journey where it's like, okay, now we're in the future and you're looking back at this lifetime as a past, and you said you went, that just made me laugh, the way you described that. You felt that. Wait a minute. Um, anyway, so I'm just checking around here. I think probably these should be about an hour long. How does that feel to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're about at the hour, and let me just check and just see if there's anything specific that Arcturians or Ascended Masters or anything else. Mary, you're doing just fine. You're doing a great job, which I knew. I didn't need the Arcturians to come through with that.
I needed to hear that. Thank you.
And Stephanie, and you as well, and you of course are juggling a lot because you have full family life with kids and a husband and a ranch going on, just a, you know, pulled in directions. But of course that's what you're doing. You're learning to bring your whole consciousness into that experience. And again, we know that we didn't really need the Arcturians to kind of remind us of that, but
I know. On a side note, can you believe how quiet it is right now?
yeah, where is everybody?
They're out in the living room. I'm hiding in my bedroom,
Ah,
but I'm still surprised that it's this quiet.
I am given though to remind whoever you guys or whoever's watching this back, the I love you, and it came up when I was kind of focused a little bit more on you, Steph. So maybe it's a little bit more for you, but it's for everybody. I love you, and not but, and I don't owe you this. I am not responsible for what I'm not responsible for. It's allowing yourself to love someone and to say yes when it is appropriate to say yes to what they're proposing, needing, asking for, or trying to project upon you. Or I love you, and no, I'm not. I'm not buying what you're selling.
Yeah.
No, I don't owe you. I'm not responsible for that for you. You are responsible for that for you. So I was just told to share that. And that somebody here that's watching or attending now or watching this back, I'm actually getting the done super energy, which is closing out an old pattern of being, way of thinking, feeling, the way it was, and moving on, shutting down an old pattern. So done with a pattern that's now obsolete, become obsolete for what it is, for what it's worth. And and I don't know who this is for. Might be for someone else that's going to watch this forward. Any addictive patterns, like, yeah, but if I keep focusing on this, um, I don't have to just open up and give myself to my expansion and where I'm going. A neutralizing of addictive patterns. That doesn't mean a substance addiction, it's more behavior. Any kind of addictive behavioral pattern. You don't need those anyway, because you're good and you're perfect as you are, and you don't have to worry about living up to expectations that you're projecting upon yourself or that you think others are projecting upon you. You're not responsible for meeting the expectations that others project on you, or that or you're that accepting for yourself. Um, you're not responsible for doing anything but being exactly who and what you are. And you are perfect and good, inherently good, and you have every capability of doing and being everything that is authentic to you to do and be. Your authentic joy, your authentic satisfaction, your authentic, as Bashar calls it, excitement, passion. Whatever you are, that is your service to the world. Okay, what do we think? Are we good for tonight? Anything else before we go?
It was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. This was so much fun, and I'm just looking forward, and I hope we get lots more people, because it's just fun to be with a group of people sharing ideas and experiences and bringing up things.
It is
Awesome.
fun.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I love you, and we'll see you next week. I'll send, of course, I'll send you a copy. Everybody that registers, or that is in this case registered, but that is signed up in the Patreon page. for the live monthly attendance, just automatically is signed up for this and automatically gets a copy if they can't attend live. But I want everybody to attend live because this is so much fun.
It really is.
Okay. All right. I love you guys. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
We'll see you
Good
next
night.
time.
Bye.
Bye bye.